Lord Rick of the Paranormal Ghost Society. This is our second expedition to Maggie's Peak. Last time we went in Cascade Canyon. Look, there's a chipmunk. This time we're going to the top of Maggie's Peak. We've already been to Granite Lake. We came pretty close to the peak, but what we did is we went in Cascade Canyon instead. And we climbed the cliff over ancient trees that were fallen. There's Maggie's Peak right there. That's Maggie's Peak right there. It looks quite large from far away. Once you get up to the lake, it's pretty close. We just grabbed a whole truckload of firewood. The forestry cut a bunch of trees down to clear up the camping area. And I got logs so large that one log will burn, each log will burn for 5 to 6 hours. So, but anyways, on the first expedition, come on, are we going the right way? Because that's Cascade. This is the Desolation Wilderness. But anyways, it's early in the morning, the sun just came up, and we found 2 Bigfoot tracks, 2 separate tracks. One could have been a bear, but the other one was definitely something with large toes and a wide foot spread. But it warrants us coming back for another investigation. Now, last time we were here, we climbed the cliffs of Cascade. There was trees falling that were almost 6 feet high that I had to lift my legs over, and rocks that I had to stretch. So my body went into shock. I mean, I made it over the cliff, arrived at the lake to relax, and my whole body went into spasms. So we never made it to the peak. This time, we'll go directly to the peak. No climbing cliffs or from the bottom of a deep gorge or canyon. Can't say I'll find Bigfoot tracks this time around, because once you hit Maggie's Peak, it's solid rock. There's no switchbacks with dirt where something can go walking down and make an impression. There's nothing. There's nothing but rocks and more rocks. But at 8,699 feet, it really is like the second best view in all of Lake Tahoe. And you can see from on top, for example, Cascade Lake, Emerald Bay, Lake Tahoe, Pyramid Peak, the Crystal Mountain Range, Job's Peak and the Carson Range. There's some lakes in the Desolation Wilderness that you can see. So, you know, we just have to, the thing is with this hike, is we have to embrace it. We really just, you know, we're actually, I mean, we were up, way high up there on one of the smaller peaks, but we've been through these woods. And, you know, the whole reasoning for a second visit is not just because we found tracks, but we want to finish the expedition. Usually most places I do once or twice. Special historic sites like American Flats, we did like 4 or 5 times. You know, and every one of them revealed something different. But this here, what we're going on is just, you know, it's a steep ascension for, you know, a good half mile. And maybe more, maybe a good mile till you get to the lake. But with views of Lake Tahoe and Cascade Lake and eventually Emerald Bay, where Finette Island is, you can't go wrong. You know, in the stand on a peak, we were delayed 2 weeks. These skies that you see in this video were black because west of this exact location was the King Fire. Over 100,000 acres burned because a felon wanted to light the forest on purpose. He was, I guess they said he was angry or just, you know, just criminal behavior. And he nearly burnt down Apple Hill It's all the pumpkin ranches, corn mazes, vineyards, orchards, dating back, you know, you got ranches dating back to the mid-1800s. But the fire went around it, and it burnt down the King Wilderness. They call it that because it's outside Sacramento. But it is part of the Sierras, and, you know, 100,000 acres gone. 100 square miles gone, you know. And there might have been some ghost towns lost, some good Bigfoot dens, some Bigfoot areas. So, you know, it's one of those situations that, you know, I won't be able to really hike there. It's going to take years for the forest to recover. Because we had plans come per se next year. We are going to do 2-3 hikes around Pollock Pines. Pollock Pines has got some beautiful hikes, cliffs and gorges in the American River, and we can't do those hikes. We could, but the trees all burnt down. So if you're going to do the hike, you better do it in cool weather, because you have no shade. Here you have shade, but imagine if this all burnt down, what shade would you have from that beaming sun? Nothing. But animals died, firefighters nearly died because of someone's ignorance, and you know, the other problem is that these Bigfoot-like creatures, they're kind of nomadic, but when they have a space to hide, a place like a den or some trees and brush, they stay in those, and they could probably stay for years undetected. Fire just drives them further into the wilderness. It makes my job harder to find Bigfoot-like creatures. It's like yesterday. We were at this fort in the woods. And when I looked through the slats, my son said, look through the slats. 2 feet away, a deer is staring at me in the face. And it's just sitting there in thick brush. But you can see, if you look, this is steep. It's almost straight up. I mean, it goes here, and then it nearly goes almost hands and knees, straightens up again, and then it goes straight up like almost a cliff. Almost. So, and you can see, it's starting to shear off. And we climbed all this from Cascade Canyons below. We climbed, you know, at least a half a mile, if not more, of almost hands and knees through the woods, and then the cliffs you have to rock climb. And you grab onto the fallen trees, you grab onto the rocks, you hop over crevices. It's dangerous what we do, you know? But it's not dangerous if you're experienced and you know how to cliff climb, and you know how to grab onto things, and you know how to use proper safety. But there is never room for an error, because an error can jeopardize the whole team or your own life. So you cannot make a mistake in the wilderness. So today has to go the way we want it, which is to get our great views now that the smoke is cleared. This woods a week ago was filled with such thick smoke that the visibility was like to 100 feet, 200 feet in the woods. So, you have to understand. Now see, something big stepped down here. Look at that. It shuffled up the dirt. It may have even came from up in the woods. Looks like the dirt's all kind of like something came from up there and down. But anyways, we're on the hunt for Bigfoot. This is Lord Rick, Expedition 2 of Maggie's Peak. Peace.